Good evening. This is Two Wolves, and it is, of course, 9/11. 11 horrific years. So many thousands of lives lost. So many freedoms lost. So much taken since 9/11. Beginning, of course, with the tragic deaths of those who died on that day. Some of those who died on that day, of course, were several hundred urban firefighters and policemen and other law enforcement officials who gave their lives trying to save the lives of others. And so last night when I went to bed and was thinking about this day, it occurred to me to do a memorial for Wildland firefighters who've given their lives. And there have been hundreds of them who have died. And they've died working endless hours to the point of exhaustion, great sacrifice, leaving behind families and children for months at a time in order to save lives, homes, land, farms, the wilderness, and resources with incredible courage and utter selflessness. This is the Wildland Firefighter Memorial website honoring the fallen. And I'm looking, this page actually is 2001 and prior, because for decades firefighters have been giving their lives. Wildland firefighters. This is http://wffoundation@wordpress.com. We'll just look at this really quickly to give you a feeling for the scope of those who have died. You can look these names up. The 30 Mile Fire, this was a terrible firestorm in 2001. 2000, one reason I wanted to come to this page is because this is David Liston, who died on April 29th in 2000. He was a smoke jumper with the Alaska Fire Service out of Fairbanks. I worked with these people. I worked with these guys. He was one of the family. I didn't know him. He died before I was there. But he's still remembered with love and sorrow because he was a man of tremendous heart and love, and he died very tragically in training. You can read more about him in the book Jumping Fire, by the way. 99, 98, 95, 1994, of course, one of the worst years in all history. All of these precious people, all these hotshots died in the Storm King fire. And this goes far, far back into history. Okay. Coming forward, Wildland Firefighter Foundation. This is the more active page where compassion spreads like wildfire because this is a very tight-knit, loving family. News, honoring the fallen. This is where we just were. You can give to the families of those who have given their lives. Widows, children, grieving parents left behind. And then there's resources and also outreach, compassionate outreach for the families of those who have died. And I wanted to talk tonight, because time is short, about the 10 who have died this year in the United States. Very briefly, and this is 10 too many. 2012 fallen wildland firefighters. I won't be able to go into everybody's story, but I did some research tonight. Jimmy Randolph died in the Buck Fire in California on August 18th. He was a parolee working. Sometimes people who are on parole about to get out of prison, he'd been in for 8 years. Sometimes they do work on fire crews, and he died tragically. There's Adam Longo. You can look him up. Very sweet face. This fellow died. He died of a stroke, actually, in the line of duty while driving a vehicle to the grass fire in Wyoming. Just a young man. We'll go to Ann Veseth because she died, and she was an Idaho gal. She died here. This is Anthony Ramon Polk. He died June 8th, when his Type 6 engine rolled over while helping to suppress the Montezuma fire in Arizona. This was him. He was a firefighter of the Quechan tribe and a resident of Yuma, Arizona. He would have been 31 on his birthday, June 22nd this year. He died June 8th in a one-vehicle accident while on assignment in the Montezuma fire. What a sweet man. Here is with his daughter, Ayana. A member of the San Carlos Apache and Quechan tribes and a descendant of the Car, Pascual, Sahenti, Escalante, and Polk families, his given names are Two Feathers and Morning Dancer at Sunrise. He participated in powwows and traditional ceremonies as a singer and a grass dancer. He was an avid sports enthusiast and played a variety of sports, and he had attended a year at Haskell Indian College in Lawrence, Kansas. He served 10 years with the BIA, where he became a leader of the Prescribed Fire Operations Fuels Program. He was a firing boss and incident commander. He is survived by his daughter, his mother, grandmother, siblings, and numerous relatives and friends. This is the website, WLF, alwaysremember.org. Always Remember, again, a support website for wildland firefighters who have died. This year, 2 people died at the White Rock Fire. They were with Neptune Aviation Services out of Boise under contract with the BLM. They were aerial firefighters. Captain Todd Neil Tompkins, 48, of Boise. Ronnie Edwin Chambliss, 40, of Boise. Tanker 11 had dropped on the east flank of the White Rock Fire on June 3rd. Dropping means it dropped retardant, which is incredibly dangerous work. Returned to Cedar City, Utah for fuel. It was on approach for the second run of the day when it crashed. Neither man survived. It was estimated that the aircraft held approximately 1,600 gallons of fuel and 2,000 gallons of fire retardant. This is almost suicidal work. This is a picture of Tanker 11. Photos by Craig M. Happ in the wildlandfire.com collection. Photo of Ron smiling. Ron Chambliss, excellent friend. And then there were 4 individuals killed. This way, the White Draw firefighter deaths. Paul McHale, Joseph M. McCormick, Ryan S. David, Robert S. Cannon, all seasoned gentlemen with families, I'm sure. They were with the North Carolina Air National Guard, members of the 145th Airlift Wing. They were killed and 2 others were injured while working a fire attack mission in South Dakota on the White Rock Fire near Edgemont. The firefighting crew of the Air Force C-130H-3, carrying a U.S. Forest Service modular, well, it's a MAFS. I'll let you read that. Had been battling wildfires in the days leading up to the crash, including those around Colorado Springs. I didn't find a lot on them, but you could and should look up their names, and they are listed here in the fallen. Jimmy Randolph and Veseth. These 4 individuals, Anthony Polk, and these 2, and Adam Longo, who died of a stroke. This is Ann Veseth, college girl from Idaho. And this article was in the Huffington Post, www.huffingtonpost.com. But it was all over the news here in Idaho. This is by John Miller. This posted 6/14. This picture was taken 2 years earlier. She was from Moscow. For Wildland firefighter Ann Vesseth, the danger came not from out-of-control flames, but from above. She was struck by a falling tree on Sunday, ending her life at just 20 years. And this became a federal investigation. She and members of her 20-person crew were trying to extinguish the 43-acre steep corner fire near Orofino. They were establishing and reinforcing a fire line on one perimeter of the blaze, U.S. Forest Service spokesman Phil Salmon said. He said, "It's a harsh reminder that this is dangerous stuff, and the qualification and safety and training we commit to is paramount." Okay. Salmon is based in Missoula, Montana. You can read this story, read about her. An investigation could take up to 6 months. There was an investigation in 2003 into 2 firefighter deaths in Idaho, concluding that poor judgment and numerous violations of safety standards contributed to fatalities. Shane Heath and Jeff Allen. There have been matters of discipline in the wake of deadly Kramer fire. This was a sad story. In the wake of the deadly Kramer fire, at least 6 Forest Service employees were disciplined. Heath and Allen had radioed for a helicopter at least twice when the fire advanced their direction, but when one was finally sent, the area was too smoky to find the men. Between 2002 and 2011, only 2 of 58 U.S. Forest Service wildland firefighter fatalities came from hazardous trees like the one that killed Vesseth. The most dangerous line of firefighting work, according to the agency's statistics, involved helicopters, where accidents killed 22 firefighters during that period. Okay, so you can come and read about her. She was a Type 2 firefighter, one of the agency's thousands of seasonal employees dispatched to the nation's forests during the spring and summer fire seasons. Safety is the top priority in firefighter training, said Jill McCurdy, Chief of Fire and Aviation Training for the U.S. Forest Service. And it is. I can attest that the training standards are very high. The article will tell you a little bit about what firefighters go through in their training, including a week of learning about wildfire behavior, human reactions on the fire line, and basic firefighting skills, as well as how to deploy a fire shelter. There actually was a female firefighter who had to do that about a month ago on a fire in the West. She did survive. Training includes the art of wielding a Pulaski, a tool that's part shovel, part axe, and is used to establish fire breaks intended to stop approaching flames. On the line, Type 2 crews carry backpacks weighing 45 pounds or more, often hike several miles, and sometimes spend 12 hours or more digging line. Smoke jumpers do all that, as well as, of course, jumping out of planes and hiking in for miles. Okay, well, I just wanted you to think about the fallen. Send them your prayers, and may they all rest in peace. And let's pray very hard for the safety of those who are fighting for everyone this year in all of North America. Wildland Firefighter Foundation, where compassion spreads like wildfire. This is where you can come to donate. This is Two Wolves Out.